Hi everyone. Wait up. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. So good afternoon to everyone. This is Nikki, you also known as Faces Trader, and you are watching the Friday free class. So every Friday we do host these Friday classes for you to learn and adopt the awesome 10x mindset. So today is August 21, 2020. If this is your first time, you can follow me on Twitter. My handle is at Faces Trader. The website is awesome10x.com. And of course, you are watching this on our YouTube channel, which is awesome 10x. Okay. Wait up. May problem ba? Um, Teka lang ah. Okay. Alam ko na. Wait up. Alam ko yun. Sige, sige. I'll fix lang ah. That would be the electric fan. Um, Pardon. Give me some Okay, wait lang. Stop video first ah. Teka. Okay, hello? Okay, sige. Done. Okay, sige. All right, let's go. Okay, so we are going to discuss to you on August 21, 2020, how ordinary investors have 10x their money by adopting the awesome 10x mindset. The first question is it possible? And we will share to you in today's class that if you adopt the awesome 10x mindset, it's going to help you gain a lot of money. But before we begin, of course, I'd like to invite all of you to join our awesome 10x inner circle group right now. The website is http://bit.ly /awesome 10x. Of course, inside the inner circle, you get daily Zoom classes and it's recorded, such as these, Monday to Friday, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Philippine time. You'll also get a 24/7 live assisted trading guidance for the Philippine and the global stock markets. You also have a inner circle, which is the awesome 10x Slack group, as well as our Viber group for our awesome 10x stock picks. If you are willing to learn about the awesome 10x and learn how to globally invest in these 10x trends, contact Rich 63917-531-8949. Membership fee is 2,000 pesos for a month or 10,000 pesos for 6 months. That would be $40 or $200. Okay, so we shall begin. What is the awesome 10x mindset? It is actually an offshoot of the 10x mindset, which is exponential thinking. This was actually popularized by Google's Larry Page. He talked about exponential thinking. He said that in a Google forum. He said that innovation had nothing to do with making an improvement of 10%. He said that he was there to improve things by 10 times. This was Google circa 2004, 2005. Incremental is just satisfied with 10%. We are here to dominate and we are here for exponential. So he exuded the exponential mindset. Of course, this was exemplified in one book. In year 2011, Grant Cardone had written a book called The 10X Rule, the only difference between success and failure, between zeros and ones, the way Peter Thiel thinks. Achieve massive action results and accomplish your business dreams, while most people are operating with only 3 degrees of action, no action, retreat, or normal action. If you are after big goals, you do not want to settle for the ordinary. To reach the next level, you must understand the coveted fourth degree of action. So you can watch a lot of previews about the 10x rule, or you can actually just read summaries or know about it. let me give to you a few articles or quotes that Grant Cardone has said. He said that anyone who minimizes the importance of success to their future has given up on his or her own chances of accomplishment and is just spending their life trying to convince others to do the same. So the reality is that you are 10x capable to hit your goals. You are capable to 10x your money. But most often you hear people, oh, we can make 10% of your money. And that's what most people propagate. How to think 10x. The notion of 10x thinking is at the heart of how we innovate at Google. To put the idea simply, true innovation happens when you try to improve something by 10 times rather than by 10%. So the name of our company is called Awesome 10x. It is actually an offshoot from Google Larry Page. You cannot achieve extraordinary results with an ordinary mindset because people have a tendency to underestimate what we can accomplish. Therefore, we lower our goals and we don't really reach our full potential. So this is a good summary of the entire 10x book, and I will discuss this to you today. We have to be creating our own luck. If you have a 10x goal, you are required to have 10x actions. Multiply your goal with your actions. You create for yourself 100 times opportunities. How does that happen? Every single day, and I mean it, we inside the Awesome 10x, that's why we do daily market updates. We do all the time look for 10x companies because that is our 10x goal. We are looking for companies that goes from $1 to $10, $100 to $1,000, $50 to $500. It doesn't mean what market cap it is. It doesn't mean that we are looking at small caps. It doesn't mean that we are not looking at mega caps. Any company that is willing or can take a 10x move is a company that we will take a look at. That every single day will snowball into a lot of opportunities, such as if you have a goal and you are doing 10x action, you are doing it daily, consistently, every day, you have multiplied your abilities to find 100 times opportunities. And so people, when they see that you are making money, they would attribute it, oh, she's lucky. Oh, he's lucky. They call it luck. But the truth is, what people see was the similar thing with sports. Whenever you see an athlete, whenever they win their championships, whenever they make their goals, what people see are just, oh, he's successful. Oh, this athlete is so good. Oh, this team is so great. No more plunder. Golf is more lucrative, said to Tiger Woods. But the reality is, what happened before that lucky event? He had a million of practice shots. He had more hurdles. He also had his doubts and his struggles. In fact, all the athletes in the world and even the investors in the world said that. Even Warren Buffett has said, the more I read, the luckier I get. So most of the successful people aren't really sleeping there. Yes, we make money while sleeping. But of course, I did say that we do that because we've already done 10 times the normal average investor is doing. An ordinary investor with 10x action, meaning you are looking for 10x companies all day long, and that is what really the Awesome 10x is doing. You are actively looking for it. Those opportunities come because you are actively reading about those secular trends to begin with. So it is a bit of a luck, but also the opportunities that come your way is because you are actively seeking for it. So there's also a myth propagated by people that you will never go broke taking profits. And I have a word for all of you. You will never reach 10 times taking profits either. If you always take profits after a 10% or a 20% of 100%, you will never reach 1,000%. Because when you don't understand the big picture, you will keep on selling 100% only to see it go another 100%. And after a few years' time, you've already missed 1,000%. And that is what we will show to you in this class today. It took Apple 42 years to reach $1 trillion in value. It just took 2 years to get to $2 trillion. All of Apple's second $1 trillion came in the past 21 weeks, while the global economy shrank faster than ever before in the coronavirus pandemic. Why do you think that NASDAQ 100 is reaching all-time highs in the event of a coronavirus pandemic? Why is NASDAQ doing that? Six companies, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, Google, Tesla, all-time highs in a coronavirus pandemic. It's because people are understanding that while the world can suffer, there are a few companies that will actually benefit from their suffering, and it is these companies. Take note too that it took Apple 42 years. It took them 21 weeks. 21 weeks is less than 6 months. So that just tells you that when you are working hard, compounding, that is the result of compounding. You might reach 42 years to reach your first 100 million. It might reach you about, let's not talk about 42 years. Let's talk about 10 years. In 10 years time, you might hit 1,000%. In 2 years time, your $100,000 went $1 million. $1 million after 2 years goes 2 million. Or let me discuss to you, your $10,000 will take 10 years to go 100,000. It will take just 2 years for your 100,000 to become 200,000. And then another 2 years for 200,000 to go 400,000. That's what happens with compounding. And that's the reason why you don't sell. And if you take profit, you'd never realize what all the 10x, 20x companies have done in the first place. So the idea of a 10x advantage is to aim 10 times higher than what you set your goals in business and life. You're probably not thinking big enough about your life's work, about what your projects are and what you want to achieve in your career. A 10x mindset or goal means that if you come up short, you will still find yourself further along than if you had maintained your life's current goals, visions, everything else that you have planned to achieve. Christopher Reeves once said, so many of our dreams at first seem impossible, and then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. It also means that if you open up yourself for bigger possibilities for the future, it makes it increasingly easier to make decisions, take action in the present. You can move and you can work your goals 10 times faster while being consistent and persistent. Don't underestimate how much energy and effort it will take to push things through and through. Things could take longer to complete or cost more. Plan for those things you plan to focus on achieving more using the 10x rules. These are actually summaries of people who have read the 10x rule by Grant Cardone. I didn't read the book, by the way, but I'm aware of 10x mindset, and it's about because I am looking for 10x thinkers that I happen to find people who think the same way, same wavelength. Okay, so that this one, adopt the 10x mindset. If you want to read it, it's in medium.com/the-mission/mission. He wrote this, and so I am quoting every word per word about the article because I want everyone to know the mindset. Thinkers and dreamers are the new untouchables. Between the great things we cannot do and the small things that we will not do, the danger is that we shall do nothing. Adolf Monod. We've been conditioned to think small, simplify, expect less, demand less from life. Don't be subject to the tyranny of how things have always been done. Find your true north and push past the default. For centuries, we have been trained by the system to stop thinking, do as we are told, but dreamers and thinkers change the world. They don't follow any logic. It's very hard to replace the dreamers with algorithms. Can you build something that people will look for, that people will talk about, or something that people would miss if it were gone? Think about your capacity to think creatively and exponentially, and your capacity to provide value to others. Start seeing things from a wider and far-reaching perspective. You shouldn't start thinking big without reservations. Practice thinking about your future, being 10 times bigger and better, and you will develop a new 10x standard for viewing the world. All 10x companies don't think about just the Philippines or just USA. All 10x companies think about the world. They think about the total addressable market is the world. They think about, if I'm going to educate you, about the Philippines or the global markets, I'm not just talking about one person. I'm talking about probably 100,000 future people. We are not conditioned to think about when Apple, so you could see here, you can remember the line of Apple, Steve Jobs. He did say that only the crazy ones can change the world. In a way, there is a very thin line between crazy people, madmen, geniuses, and those people who will really attempt the future. So in 2012, Tesla said when he started his company, 2012, he IPO'd at $17. Today, August 21, 2020, it did reach 2020. So that's more than 100x your money in just less than 8 years, 2012 to 2020. A lot of people have made money in that name. Ordinary people, not just billionaires, ordinary investors. I've seen some tweets, $40, they invested $40, $40,000 car, and they understood that their $40,000 was better spent owning a Tesla stock and than owning a Tesla car. Fast forward today, they can buy 100 cars of Tesla with $2 million. Their $40,000 is $2 million. A Tesla car is just, there is a 30,000 Tesla car, the Model Y. And of course, there is the Tesla $100,000 car. So they can now buy as many Tesla cars as they want. And we have always said that even for Apple, had you bought Apple 1997 to 1998 when they released the iPod, or even if you've bought year 2003, just recently, there's an article by Market Watch. There's a grandparent. In 2003, he decided that for college, he will give his grandson, instead of a college tuition, he decided, I'm going to spend your tuition fee, 7,000 shares of Apple. Of course, today, that 7,000 shares of tuition fee became what is now $3.28 million to this child 17 years after. 2003 to 2020, after several stock splits of Apple, and of course, Apple being a $2 trillion company from just 1 billion. So this company truly is at 2,000 times your money. So these sound like fairy tales, except that it isn't. Except everything that I'm telling you is not a fairy tale. All of these are real. All of them had the same format. They had the same thinking to not think about 10%. They had to think about changing the world. They had to think Apple wanted to innovate and make a tool for you to understand music, to have a computer for you, a MacBook. So even Microsoft, right? They all had to think different. So it's always think different, 10x thinking, not like 10%. Let's read about this. Turn your mindset into action. The right intentions will only get you so far. You must also act. A 10x mindset radically shifts your thinking, your decision making, and the actions that you take. Start identifying actions that are blocking your progress towards this 10x growth and get rid of them. Focus on doing even better at those things that you're already good at. Stop worrying about everything that you are struggling with. Tackle every project with the 10x rule, acting like you have to succeed because your life depends on it. I always said to people that I had become more determined and hungry to find 10x names because I always had that dependency. I always had to think that what would this child inherit in the future? If I had nothing to give him or her, what would I give him? So I had to educate myself and I had to think big. I had to think about what is it that Nikki is good at, that she can expand her knowledge, earn more at the same time. What is it? So even if that business is online education, I had to start somewhere. And so I did. And so this channel is where you can learn all of my mindset how I turn my own money into action, how I turn my money into more money, but also how you can make money with your own money. So, of course, I also had to think big. I can't think about just making in the Philippines. I had to think globally. Are there world leaders that I could invest in? And should I invest in this secular trend? Is this growing 100%? If I'm going to achieve a 10x goal, I should look at all the 10x winners, not just in the last 10 years, but in the last 20 years. And I had to learn about these companies, and I had to learn that 10x thinking requires at least an average of 6 years. Even Tesla, even if you invested in 2012, if you sold at 2014, if you sold at 2015, you would not achieve the greatness of Tesla that is today. So you might say that you are struggling with investing for the future, and maybe it is a struggle for you. But I always tell people, if you are not even willing to hold a company for a month or 3 months, and you are expecting 100%, you might never even reach your goal, because you cannot achieve 1,000% if you cannot even think in decades and you're thinking in days. So I always tell this to awesome 10x companies: think decades, not days. Whenever I think about decades, you could see why my winners happen to become winners at the same time. You will see that this 10x thinking was the underlining reason why I chose my winners in the first place. Incremental thinking only gets you here, impatient for results. Exponential thinking takes you here. Incremental thinking might deliver to you immediate and steady results. Wow, I'm great. I'm up 30-40% this month. While exponential thinking will generate results that accelerate over time, 1,000% over time. The wrong expectations can lead teams to quit the exponential path too soon. When a company thinks short term, when a company thinks, I want to meet that quarterly result this month, this quarter, they think impatiently. They cannot think the long term game. The best long term thinker for those people who want to learn is, in my view, one of the best would be Jeff Bezos. Learn from the master. Learn from people who've done, a company that started from 1 billion to 2 trillion. How much billions did Jeff Bezos had 20 years ago versus today? So was he an incremental thinker or was he an exponential thinker? Think about it. People discuss 8 areas to 10x their life. They have to increase, most and foremost, of course, they had to be knowledgeable. So in terms of knowledge, I had to read a lot. I had to listen a lot. I had to learn a lot. I'm sharing to you just as much as I'm learning, I am teaching and sharing. That's one way of my knowledge to also increase, because what can I teach you if I'm not learning everything as well at the same time? Talking about it increases my understanding of a certain topic. Mindset, of course, I increase my mindset. I have to always think, is this business scalable? If I am going to invest in this company, is it logical to assume that in the next 10 years, that this company could really be from $1 billion company to a $10 billion company? That means I always think about their potential growth, their market, their addressable market. I think a lot about their TAM, TAM. So I do think a lot about those things. How many people would suffer if this product was not there in the first place? 8 areas to 10x. Of course, you don't want to lessen your health. You cannot actually not sleep. Your sleep, your exercise, your eating well is a function, of course, of your ability to find all of these opportunities at the same time. You're not supposed to be sacrificing your relationships or your other businesses in exchange for this knowledge and mindset career that you are doing. Neither do you sacrifice your spirituality, your contribution, your lifestyle. So in any case, the important thing here is that most of the things that you have to 10x in your life is actually mostly gonna begin with increasing your knowledge and your mindset, relationship, and health. Those are really the big factors in your career and your life. So there. Moonshot thinking. Let's try to understand. Of course, everyone who had a moonshot thinking would be somebody like Elon Musk. 10x thinking is the art of the extremely big swing. To use a baseball analogy, instead of trying to get on base or even aiming for a home run, it's trying to hit the ball into the next town. So it's not just making a home run. It's about hitting the ball to the next hometown. Such a goal requires you to think radically different. So when Jeff Bezos in 2014 said that it's important to have low downside and unlimited upside, I began to think about industries and secular trends, and I understood what Jeff Bezos had to say. Uh, they decided to go a huge double and triple the efforts into cloud computing. And even if Amazon was 7 years ahead of cloud computing with Microsoft, and then Microsoft company followed with their Azure, take note that a company that was already so successful in e-commerce had began to dominate number one in cloud computing, which is the Amazon Web Services. And then they also dominated payments through Amazon Pay. And then they also dominated logistics. 50% of anything shipped online is done by Amazon shipping. They have their own Prime Air. Of course, Amazon decided with their own risk mindset, and all of that is attributable, of course, to Jeff Bezos. Um, I am surprised that somebody, and I always tell this to my class, the richest people in the world aren't there sitting on the beach. They're not sipping their tequilas, like all what you think, okay? So most people think that, oh, I want to be rich so that I could just sit on the beach and just drink that pina colada. The truth is that all of the 10x, all of the 100,000x leaders, there's not, the biggest, the best, all of them in your top 10 richest in the world never got there through inheritance. None. They all self-made. Did you notice? None of them achieved their gargantuan trillions inheriting it from their parents. None. They all did it their own way. Facebook 2009, $10 billion valuation. Today, $600 billion valuation. You want to think about 10x thinkers? If you can't do a moonshot 10x thinking, why don't you start with the people who have done it? How did Facebook do it? Why don't you think about those things? So this is actually a good summary by Grant Cardone. You might want to follow Swedish Investor. Again, I always say this to everyone. The 10x mindset is also about surrounding yourself with 10x winners, with 100x, with 1,000x winners. You don't have to know, you don't have to be an investor of Facebook to imbibe all of their 10x thinking. But if you are an investor, then you would have also benefited from their 10x mindset that translated to 10x returns and rewards for their shareholders in Facebook. That's the beautiful thing about investing. Not only do you learn about business leaders, about their great acquisitions, how forward thinking they were. In fact, the Jeff Bezos was saying that in one analyst, Jeff Bezos said to a quarter, because an analyst of Wall Street said, congratulations for your quarter. And Jeff Bezos said that, oh, but you know what? All of the quarters today were done 3 years ago. What does that mean? None of Amazon's success this year, 2020, or 2015, or 2010, was made 6 months ago. It wasn't made 12 months ago. In fact, every single success that they've had was made at least 3 years ahead of time. So today in 2020, you are asking me what's going to be the successful leaders 2023, 2026, 2029. What's going to be successful 2020 to 2030? That's really the question. It doesn't matter who were the winners in the past. They could be the same winners in the next decade. But that is the true question of Awesome 10x investing and thinking. And Awesome 10x life has to do with that. This is actually a good video. It's 10 minutes. It's 12 minutes. And this is the summary. Of course, at 10x goals, you bootstrap your success. Your success, you have to have a 10x goal. If you have a $10,000 account today and your mindset is, I'm happy to make $11,000, that is wrong. You have to have a goal of making $100,000 over time, such that even if you already achieved $25,000 this year or $30,000 with your $10,000, you shouldn't think that that's finished. You have to continue your goal in bigger and bigger goals. 10x action is required. You cannot have a 10x goal without a 10x action. You want to win championships? Look what happened. Every champion, every greatest of all time had to practice on the court. Who was Steve Kerr without Michael Jordan berating him all the time about being a champion, to the point that Steve Kerr became a champion himself, to the point that Golden State Warriors had become champions themselves. Because if you surround yourself with champions, in a way, you'll breathe the same thing that they're breathing. The people who are making 10x, 100x, you'd hear their stories. The person who made Tesla $40,000 to $2 million wasn't some klutz. He didn't just leap there. It was carefully thought out, guys. The people who invested in Shopify at $20 sat through and added on their winners until $1,000 today didn't get there by chance. People would say, oh, that's luck. Tell that to Masayoshi Son and he will laugh at you. The SoftBank Group, he wouldn't say that it was luck. None of it was luck. All of it was intentional. You create your own luck, 10x goals, 10x actions. Nothing was luck. Sure, there was luck involved. It happened maybe in a 5-year time frame when they were expecting it a 10-year time frame. But, it just happened faster. Your fears can be eliminated simply by small actions rather than doing nothing. And then, of course, all the 10x companies do not compete, they dominate. I said one time that all the winners, may it be Michael Phelps, they don't focus on their competition. They just focus on winning. They focus on their customers. Jeff Bezos said this. If you always start thinking about the competition, what the competition was doing, at that point in time, it was funny. They were pitting Amazon against Barnes and Noble. And Amazon was saying, we don't care about the competition. We are looking at our customers. What did Zoom Video do? Look at your customers, not about Facebook. Facebook came out with what? Facebook Messenger Rooms. Roku focused on what? Did Roku focus on the fact that there was Amazon Fire TV? That they had competition that was Jeff Bezos? Did Anthony Wood get fearful? No. Anthony Wood of Roku decided to create a product, agnostic platform. We're going to give the customers what they want. In the end, what happened? The most successful smart TV is all with Roku, not with Amazon Fire Sticks. Eventually, what happens? Eventually, the competition would say that it is useless to fight Roku because Roku's edge becomes 10 times more. Remember Mamba mentality, Kobe Bryant? Kobe Bryant, okay, Kobe Bryant is one of my mentors. How? Just by watching him play, by watching him talk, by watching him, how he conducted his life. Your examples of 10x doesn't have to be investors. It could be athletes that had tremendous success because they are human beings first and foremost. They didn't become champions at once. What I was really focused about was when Kobe at 12 years old was nowhere. He was zero. His basketball coach wouldn't even play him. And then in 2 years' time, he was the number one in that like entire national league, not just in his school, but like entire state. Can you imagine that, from nowhere to somewhere? And he said that it was math. Do you know how he got there? Kobe Bryant said that it was just pure mathematics. He'd do 4 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 a.m. This became what Malcolm Gladwell said, that if you just spend 10,000 hours, that was the outlier rule, right? All your outliers had to do 10,000 of focused work with what you're doing. Think about it. In a single day, I spend about 8 hours. Every day I breathe, I just think about 10x companies all day long, and I marry them with other 10x companies. 100 days means 800 hours. 1,000 days means 8,000 hours. 1,000 days is going to be 3 years. Can you imagine what 3 years of knowledge will translate into in terms of investments? That's what focus means. This is, of course, the video. You can watch it on your own time. And these are my current 10x portfolio winners. I will discuss a few of them for you. These are already 300% from my entry. So you might say, she's bragging. But no, it's not about that. This is just inspirational effort for you. Ocado is 800, 700, 800. Now it's 2,400. E-commerce winners. C Limited, $10 to $150. Pintuotuo, $19 to $100, 500%. Before I got these winners, I studied Mercado Libre, $7 to, at that point in time when I was studying it, 700, 100 times. Shopify, $18 when I was studying it, 375. Mercado Libre today is 1,2. Shopify today is 1,000, 1,040. Winners continue to win. They continue to win from 700 to 1,2. Shopify from 375 to 1,000. 300%, 50%. Etsy from about 7 went to right now $130. I studied it at 40. So I wasn't there at 7, but even at 40, winners continue to win. Farfetch, this went from 20 to 30, fell down to 7 to 9. I got in at about $9.60. And then right now it's 30. Yes, I made a mistake. I'll tell you what. I thought that I had a winner, but I thought that 25, 20 was fine. And so I also sold winners, right? At 12, it was also a buy more, but I never did. Amazon, of course, is from $5 to $1,800 in what? Just 10 years or something. That came from like year 2000 till 2010 to 2020, something like that. 1997 till today, this company is what? $3 to $3,300, 1,000 times your money. So what can we learn about e-commerce? I'll tell you what. The reason why I was so bullish on C Limited and continue to be is not because of their current recent quarters. It's because of the future. What's going to happen when penetration rate in Southeast Asia goes from 1 to 2% to 20%, the same way Amazon became in the last decade? Amazon today, penetration rate is 25%. So it's not even 40%. It's not even 50%. There's a lot of winners. I knew Alibaba and JD were winners, but I chose Pintuotuo because why? Pintuotuo had a great leader at $19. Nobody was taking a look at it. Today, even at 500%, $100, it is worth taking a look at. It is worth taking a look at. What have I learned from my current 10x winners? Is that winners win. I always say this, winners win. Ocado, 800 to 24. Do you know where Ocado came from? 100. 100 to 24. 24 times your money since 2009. 11 years. You want to 10x your money? My first question for you is, do you have 10 years or do you have 10 days? That is really an important question. Online education, Yotao in 1797, that is Cooler. Even before the entire social media discussed about these companies, I knew that Chegg, Tal, and Edu were great online education winners. I knew that the sector was strong. I knew that the secular strength has 100% growth and 100% growth and 100% growth for the next few decades. And so I decided I'm going to look for an online education company. 2019, I was lucky that NetEase had a spin-off. Do you think that was luck that I knew that Yota was a spin-off of NetEase? People said, okay, you're lucky you knew about Yotao. How many people in 2019 invested in Yotao, told people to invest in Yotao, made a podcast, and screamed at the top of their lungs that Yotao was a buy? I distinctly know very few. I was the only one that I knew who kept screaming Yotao was a buy. Same as for Coolern. $10 IPO. 1797 Coolern was a spin-off of New Oriental Education. How many people really believed in online education in China? You might have assumed that everyone, well, that is a lazy pick, Nikki. That is something that everybody knows. Talaga lang? Talaga lang? How many people invested in Yotao and Coolern at 10, 12, 14? None. Did you know that Yotao's IPO was $17? It opened at 12. I was shocked that that company that I loved, IPO price of 17, opened $12. That I said, oh my God, I'm going to get one of the best companies in the world and nobody wants it. What is it? What's wrong with me? I kept asking myself, what's wrong with me? What was it that I saw in this company that nobody else was seeing? True enough, I was surprised that it went 300, 400%. Now I'm asking myself, what is it now that people are seeing at these levels at $40 that I'm not seeing? Is it a $100 name? Maybe. So I had to get back in. Plural site. So of course, as I said, I also am human being. So I am talking to myself sometimes. When I'm berating you, I'm not really berating you. I'm berating Nikki Yu. I'm berating Nikki Yu because sometimes I also sell my winners too soon. If they're up 100%, I didn't think that I could pick a company that would go 500% within a short span of time. Like I never knew that I could choose a 10x within 12 months time. I am surprised that I actually got to choose a company that went 10x in just 12 months. I was so surprised. That was Roku 2019, and I'm surprised that 2020, that would have been Tesla. $200, $250 last year, now it's $2,000. I am surprised. I'm bullish, but I never knew that it would 10x in 12 months or 16 months. Chegg, I was studying it at about 30. People were saying, I had a student who said, I asked her, what is that company in US that you truly love? She told me, Nikki, I love Chegg, and said, okay, I'll study your true love, which was Chegg. And that set me to the path of understanding Chegg. It is a chicken and egg. The name of Chegg was really chicken and egg because the owner said, is it a chicken or is it an egg? Which came first, chicken or egg? So that was Chegg. I don't know why they named their company Chicken and Egg, Chegg, but that is really the Chegg. That's Chegg. That's Chegg, which is started off as helping people, tutorial and then education. Instead of buying books, you could rent books. It's education. And the thing about online education, when I studied this trend, is that did you know that there's like more than 100 companies in online education that hasn't been listed? And one of the biggest and the best in online education is private. VIP Kid, which I want, which is not yet listed. So can you imagine what would happen if Nikki Yu suddenly has an ability to buy VIP Kid? Of course, I'll be ecstatic. Plural site, just listed 2 years ago or a year ago. I didn't know that there was a company like that. And so I started to study it. And now I think that it is an awesome 10x pick. That's because, why do I think about it? I think about the technology trends in the future. I think that more and more people with the advancement of technology, whatever their education in the last 10 years was, or even just the last 2 to 3 years was, it is ineffective. If you are a software programmer who doesn't know how to use Python, your Visual C, or I mean your C++ or your Java knowledge is old school. You're a dinosaur. Would I want to hire somebody like you if I'm going to really hire you? Would Microsoft hire you if you knew nothing about today's trends? Would CrowdStrike hire you as a cybersecurity expert? Do you think? If you were studying last 10 years ago in La Salle and Ateneo and you graduated without that knowledge, I wouldn't hire you. I'm telling you the truth. I think Pluralsight is going to be the future education portal of the people who has the capacity to study and not pay $50,000 to a Stanford or MIT. Pluralsight is what, $500 per year. And you could take your classes and your courses at your pace, and you could prove with a lot of certification that you know what you know. You could have exams, you could create codes, you can do programs. And the schools of the future isn't going to rely on a diploma. They're going to ask whether you know how to code, you know how to hack, or you don't. It's about your ability to apply what knowledge you have. And I wouldn't care if you studied from the Philippines as long as you, because I think remote work is global and COVID proved that. Payments winners. I knew about Square, I knew about PayPal. Thank goodness, 2019, I got to study StoneCo. StoneCo today is 100%. It could be a 10x move. 4 just listed right now, Shift4 Payments. We got to make some money on it. Visa and MasterCard are your giants and payments winners. Some of the payments winners aren't listed. Stripe, which is one of the best, is not yet listed. So if Stripe lists, of course I'll be happy. There's so many payments winners. Bill.com. I didn't even put every payment winner there. Creditas, PagSeguro. Creditas is in Brazil and it's not listed. PagSeguro is listed. There's a lot. TSS, Total Systems, Payc, Paycom. Why do you think I know so many payments winners and I didn't even put it here? Because I studied. The point is, all my knowledge comes from reading, listening, learning from winners, going to M&A, management analysis discussion. Really, people might say that I make money while sleeping, but they don't really see the truth that, okay, I spend about 8 hours daily actually reading, listening at the very least. Video games and esports, I'm thankful that I never lost money in video games. And this one is etc., etc., etc. There's so many games. There's so many video games. Made money on NVIDIA and AMD. Who doesn't make money there? Bilibili, Huya, Tencent, NetEase, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, Activision, Electronic Arts, Take-Two. Did you know that C Limited used to be in my video games, not really in e-commerce? Because even until now, C Limited is more of a video game play, or is it a shopping e-commerce play, or is it a digital payments play? What do you think? Well, Tencent today, is it in the video games really, or is Tencent in the super app? Because Tencent is like the biggest technology, right? It has everything. It owns Meituan Dianping. It owns Tesla. It owns practically 800 companies. It owns all the unicorns and decacorns in the world and the 100 corns. So it's not even right to say that Tencent is in video games because what? WeChat, isn't it? You 10x your money just in the last 7 years if you just invested when Tencent started their WeChat service, which was 2012. So now it's 8 years. Take-Two, Electronic Arts, Zynga, Bandai Namco, Square Enix, there's more and more video games. The point is, I don't want to name all of our awesome 10x winners, of course. This is a free class. There will be more. I didn't finish my slides. Made money here. Okay, Tesla, Workhorse, RC Moto, BYD, 175, which is Geely, Enphase, Solar Edge, Next Era, Brookfield Energy, Canadian Solar, Sunrun, SunPower, First Solar, Jinko Solar, FCell, Plug, Ballard. The point here is that this solar trend, ask yourself, are we making money this year And even if we already made money this year, will we continue to make money in the next year, in the next year, in the next 3 years, in the next 10 years? This is really one of the most amazing years. I'd say 2020 has shocked everyone. I'm shocked. I'm shocked, and I want to share to you a lot of the charts. I have time naman to show some charts. I didn't even put here the SaaS winners, right? Software as a service, all the IPOs, all the plant meat trends. The point here, I think, that I'm making is that I think the point of my entire article is that winners are about secular trends, awesome 10x mindsets. And if you look, okay, I will show you a few things. Let's go to my slides. Streaming, right? You can make so much money in streaming. A lot of people change their lives with Netflix. And what did I do? I still also made money on Netflix. And then I also made money on Roku. I am trying to make a 10x on Disney. So the point here is that it doesn't matter what your last 10 years were. The point is what your next 10 years are. Life-changing 100 baggers. We have to always ask ourselves, structural winners, structural winners, structural winners. All of my classes would echo the same thing. This has always been my mantra, and I'd like to share all these mantras to you to help you get your 10x. You invest, and I mean it. You don't trade, guys. You invest. You invest. What does investing mean? Investing is owning a company at least 12 quarters. That means 12 quarters means 3 years with a business focus. So you are focused on your business. What does that mean? If I invested on Facebook, that means that I'm invested in a business of Facebook, and I will ask Facebook, how did my business do in this quarter? And how did this business do in the last quarter, and the next year, and the next year, and the next year? It doesn't matter to me if this quarter, if they missed. The question is, should I add on this business? Should I keep on adding on my winners? Invest quarterly with a business focus in at least 12 quarters in at least 20 high-quality companies in a secular, unstoppable trend. Add only on winners, never on losers. What do I mean with never on losers? It means that you only add when the business is growing and not when the business is deteriorating. It might happen that you bought at 7, and after a quarter, after 3 months, you can buy it at 6 for no apparent reason, but the company continues to grow 100%. It happened that Roku this quarter was 100. It took a while. It took a while, guys. It took about a few months before Roku went 150. Roku was resilient. The question is, will you continue to add at 150? Well, you might not want to add 50% higher, but the question is it a winner? Sometimes a quarter could be great and people might sell it off. I think like Roku went from 165 to 148. If Roku drops at 135, will you add on that winner? Do you or do you consider it a loser just because when this some of my slides are going to incorporate all those trends that I think about. So I think about like 10x, right? So I think about which trends will continue growing in terms of 100%. Nasaan na yung mga? Nasaan na yun? I mean, okay, don't worry about that. So I think like even in this, just, okay, I'll give you a story. Sige, ito na lang, Target. Diba this month, story of Target? Let's talk about this Target for everyone. Target, also known as Dayton Corporation, had its IPO at $34 per share on October 1967. There had been 6 stock splits, including a 1 3-for-1 split. Shareholders today, um, if you had bought 1 share, you'd now own 96 shares after all the stock splits. Those shares would be worth over $12,420. Not bad for a $34 investment. Actually, right now, it's $150, 365 times return. So 365 times 10% is about 400 times your money. So that is the story of Target, 400 times. Your $1,000 is $400,000, 1967 to 2020. Now you might say, okay, I don't want that because Nikki, I don't have 60 years. So this is gonna be my last endpoint. This is gonna be my last chart for you before I end today's talk. Try to search, and I tell you this, you make more money looking for companies that's done 200, 300%, and ask yourself, will they become 1,000%? That should be your question for yourself. Grow Generation was a company that we shared last week. And so far, Grow Generation is now what? From $12 last Friday, today, this Friday, it's now 18. And the first temptation of everyone is to sell their winners. What did you learn today from me? Awesome 10X Mindset, guys. The question is, has the business grown? And what's going to happen in the next 10 years? Is the market cap of $800 million today at 18 going to be $5 billion, or is it going to be $500 million? So ask yourself, are you willing to buy Grow Generation at 14, 15 should it fall, and willing to wait for your next 10x move? So that would be the end of my class. I hope you learned something today. Invest and awesome 10x mindset, and do continue to subscribe to this channel for awesome 10x wins for you and for your family and for your future, so that you have a lot to share to everyone in the world. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.